with the permission of Hashem, the parasha of this week, the Torah talk about the death of Miriam, the prophet, that she was a big prophet. The Torah talk as well about Moshe Rabbeinu, that Hashem, he was angry against him not to enter Israel. And he told him your punishment is not to enter Israel. Why? Because the Bnei Israel, they were very thirsty. When Miriam and Neviah, as you know, Hashem give free gift to the Jews in the desert. One, the man, the food, was with the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu. The be'er, the water, wherever the Jews went, the water was with them, with the merit of Miriam and Neviah. And the Ananei Kavod. As you know, in the desert, it's hot, it's cold. And Hashem, with the merit of Aaron, they had 7 cloud that protect them from heat, from cold, from enemies, from everything. So when Aaron HaKohen passed away, the 7 cloud disappear. Miriam passed away, the water disappear. So Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, he said, Hashem, why you do that? So Hashem told him, I want the Jewish people to know that they had a big benefit. They have been only with the zichut of of Miriam and Aaron. So they should know that it's not because they merit this, only because of Aaron they had this. So now Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem, now there is no Aaron, there is no Miriam. What's going to happen? It's dangerous. So Hashem said, now for you, I give them back. So the water come back, and the 7 clouds come back with the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu. That means that now, the last year of the life of Moshe Rabbeinu, all and the man, and the cloud, and the water was with the zichut of Moshe Rabbeinu. So now, the question is, that means that Moshe Rabbeinu had a big zichut. Yes? So why Hashem didn't give the 3 of them with the zichut of Moshe Rabbeinu? If Moshe Rabbeinu is so big, so close to Hashem, so that with his zichut, they had, after the death of Aaron and Miriam, he bring back and the water, and the man, and the cloud. So that means that Moshe Rabbeinu has a big zichut. So why Hashem, he divide those 3 things, one for Moshe, the man, Aaron is the Ananei Kavod, and the Miriam is the water. Why? I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu has a big zichut, so why if Moshe Rabbeinu has a big zichut, so why you take that zichut from Moshe Rabbeinu? Why to share it with Aaron and Miriam? You understand? It's something that it's a beautiful question that I've been asking to myself. But I wanted to tell you a beautiful story. And you will know what how the tzaddikim are. One day, there was a couple got married. And the Ashkenazim, when they got married after the wedding, they go to inside a room. We call it yichud, because the religious way, the religious law, a man is not allowed to be with a woman alone in the house, unless if it's his wife. But it's like me. I'm not allowed to be here with the secretary of the yeshiva alone in the building, especially if the building is closed. If it's open, okay, she's in one room, I am in the other room, it's open, anyone can enter. But if it's closed, I'm not allowed. That, we call it yichud. What does mean yichud? To be alone with a woman in the house. Of course, except your mother, except your sister, or your or your wife, or your daughter, but just a woman, you're not allowed, especially if she's married. Understand? If that woman, she's married to somebody, you're not allowed. Yichud. So now, after the couple get married, so for the first time, they put them in one room, yichud. They can stay together. Maybe they have a lunch, or they have a l'chaim, understand? Why? Because till now it was not allowed to you. Now she's your wife, it's allowed to you. So now that couple, after they got married, they enter the room for yichud, and after they do the simcha. The simcha come after. With the Sfaradim, we don't do that. We don't do that. For us, when we get married, we don't need to go to our room for yichud. But the Ashkenazim, they do that. Okay. So one day, there was a couple got married, so they went to the room, and outside the room, there is two witnesses. We call them Eidei Yichud, the witness of the Yichud. Why? So they can testify that, yes, now they are married. They can be together. Okay? Suddenly, the couple were in the room, a big mouse, black one, came out. And the woman, she was, the color, she started screaming, mouse. So outside, they knocked at the door. Yes, there is a big mouse here. Not only a mouse, a black one. Big black one. So she got nervous breakdown. And they took her to all kinds of doctors to help her. Every time she repeated, mouse. So they took her to all rabbis to help her. Rabbis, psycholog, psychiatric, to help her. So they took her to a big tzaddik, the stapler, big rabbi, the stapler. And usually the stapler, he don't receive women. But when he heard that story, he told them, bring her in. She came. So she told her, tell me your story. What happened exactly? Terrible. I was in the room for yichud with my husband, and suddenly I saw that big mouse. And this mouse is following me everywhere. The rabbi said, that's it. So she said, what do you mean that's it? Well, you know why that mouse came? Because your wedding was so beautiful, and you catch it, ayn hara, evil eyes. You catch it, evil eyes. So Hashem, he wanted to take the evil eyes from you. So he sent you the mouse. What? What do you prefer? Ayn hara, that you will not have children, or to see a mouse? No, I prefer to have children. So, Baruch Hashem. So, it's not a bad sign? No. Hashem, he wanted to take ayn hara from you. And she accepted. What the psychiatrist, what the psycholog, what all the doctors couldn't do, he did it. You know, sometimes when you think about this story, you start laughing. The tzaddikim, they have a way how to help people. They help people with love. Because really they want to help. Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, he was he loved so much the Bnei Israel, but he has a big respect for his brothers, for his brother and sister. His brother Aaron, he is older than him. His sister, not only she is older than him, but because of his sister he was born. You know that or not? Because Amram, he divorced Yochebed. Because Amram, he said, anyway, if I have a baby boy, Paro will kill him. So I prefer not to get married. I prefer to divorce. So his daughter, Miriam, told the father, Papa, you are worse than Paro. What? You are worse than Paro? What do you mean? Because Paro, he only said, if there is a baby boy to be born, throw him in the sea. But not the girls. And you, by divorcing my mother, so you kill and the boys and the girls. And people follow you. So he told her, so what can I do? Papa, have emunah on Hashem. Hashem, he promised the Jewish people that it will be Tzat Mitzrayim. We will exit Egypt. And then he will give us the Torah. And he will give us Eretz Israel. So Papa, he married again his wife. And he had Moshe Rabbeinu. So that means Moshe Rabbeinu, he loved so much his brother Aaron that he was older than him. And he loved so much Miriam. So for Moshe, it's not fair that the free presents that the Jewish people will be that they will have the benefit in the desert, that will be with his merit. So he shared them with his brother and his sister. So as long as they were alive, so Moshe Rabbeinu, the man, Aaron, Anan Kabod, and Miriam, the water. So you see, from here you see how much Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, he was really a good leader. He led the Jews. He was so nice to them. And Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't want to have, he was very humble. He didn't want that all the Jewish people will say, because of Moshe we have the water, because of Moshe we have the man, because of Moshe we have the seven cloud. So that will be like a dishonor for his brother Aaron and Miriam. You understand? A lot of time we don't care about our friends. What it suit me, I don't care about. Everyone care about himself, not Moshe. Moshe didn't care only about himself. Moshe cared about everybody. Especially look, the parasha of last week. The parasha of last week, it was the parasha of Korah. And the parasha of Korah, he was against Aaron, because Aaron, he was the Kohen Gadol, the big priest. And Korah, he said to Moshe, you are the king, Aaron is the Kohen Gadol, big priest, what about me? Why not me? And Moshe, he did everything to protect his brother. I mean, Korah, his argument was not. It was for covered, for glory. He wanted to take the glory from Aaron. And I would like just to tell you something. Korah, think a little bit. We have the Anani Kabod, the seven cloud that protect the Jews in the desert. It was the zechut of Aaron. They're supposed to be with the zechut of who? Of Moshe. And Moshe, he shared this kind of thing, the man the Anani Kavod in the water with his sister and brother. Now, Korah, think a little bit. If you want to be the Kohen Gadol, that means you want to take the place of Aaron. By taking the place of Aaron, that means the Anani Kavod will go back to Moshe. Because the Anani Kavod, they are here with the Zichut of Aaron. Hey, Korah, it's a big risk that you take. Maybe you don't have enough Zichut that the 7 clouds were made to the Jews. Understand me? Korah, think, it's risky. Because if Moshe give his Zichut to that the 7 cloud is now Aaron, that means that Aaron is a tzaddik. And by taking his place, what about the 7 cloud that protects 8 million Jews in the desert? Maybe you risk your life too. You know what he thought? Korah? He said, anyway, they will go back to Moshe. I'll beat Aaron and the 7 cloud. They will not be with the Zichut of Aaron, but they will go in the Zichut of Moshe. They go back where they belong. But the risk is maybe not. If maybe not, so that means you're taking the place of Aaron. From here we see people that they have gava. They are looking for glory. They're snob. They're looking for kavod, like Korah. Korah, he didn't care about the 7 cloud. If they remain with the Zichut of Aaron, or they will go back to Moshe. The most important, he think only about himself. I want to be the Kohen Gadol. And you know what he did? He started laughing about the talis. He said, how come that having a talit, when you have the talit on you, that connects you to Hashem. Why you have to be connected to Hashem through a talit? So he started laughing about it. You understand? Sometimes when you don't deserve something, and you are looking for mafhok, you are looking for war, so at the end, you know what happened at the end? At the end, you make fun of everything. Sometimes you start to make fun of something, and then you make fun of everything. Always start with something, then big things. It's like when you steal $1, you can steal $1 million. So, Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, and the Torah wants to teach us how much Moshe Rabbeinu, he fighted the fight of Aaron against Korah. Because I think, according to what I tell you, Moshe Rabbeinu, he meant to Korah, you know, if you take the place of my brother Aaron, you will have a problem. The Anani Kavod, where are you going to go to? But when somebody is blind, you know, okay, sometimes I feel sorry for Saddam Hussein, and I feel sorry for Gaddafi, and I feel sorry for Hitler too, because they had glory, they had everything. The world was under their feet, and they wanted more. And that's what happened to them. They lost, and they died. Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein was a king. He had everything, Saddam Hussein. Why? But he wanted more glories. He wanted Kuwait. Why you want Kuwait for? You have Iraq. Stay in Iraq. So they want to fight. So then America, they wanted to fight. All the world, they prepare an army to fight him. And he faced them. Are you crazy? They can defeat you. But glory, kavod. And at the end, he lost. He lost the first war against America. He lost the second war against America. And after what? After they hang him. It's the same with Bin Laden. Why you fight America? You think by destroying the two, you know what the empire, what do you call them?
Twin Towers.
The twins' house, the twin towers. Do you think America will not fight you? Of course they fight you. So how you do that? Sometimes people they're looking for glory before thinking. We said, "Sof ma'aseh mahshavat zihila." Before you do an action, think. Think. He takes somebody who go why take risk? He takes somebody who go to the casino. He has only $1, but if he lose that dollar, he has no money anymore. It's risky. You will if you lose it, you will not have the money to take a taxi home. No, you dream, I'm gonna win, but it's risky. Okay, if you have $100, okay, you can risk $1, but if you have only $1, how to risk it? How can you risk? Korah, why take this risk? If you take the place of Aaron, who's going to protect the world? The Jewish people in the desert. I don't care. I want, but think. No, he didn't think. See, this is the parasha that we learn here. Moshe Rabbeinu Alav Shalom, he was entitled to have a lot of things, but he was very generous. He wanted to share things with others. And at the end, you know what happened? Everything came back to him. When you want to share what you have with others, at the end, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He give you back everything. Now you understand why we put tefillin. The tefillin, you know, in the tefillin, there is the parashiot that you have in the tefillin. According to the Kabbalah, we put the tefillin in the left hand and on the head. The left hand is near to the heart, and the head is the brain. You know, the heart and the brain never sleep. The heart, till you live, the heart is beating. Boom, boom. When you go to sleep, your body sleep, but not the heart. Even when I go to sleep, my heart will not sleep. Because if my heart sleeps, it's death. The brain don't sleep. You dream. That means that it never stops. The brain never stops. Even when you take a rest, you rest a little bit, but your brain carry on working. So Hashem, you want that we should connect all the time our heart and our brain to Hashem. Ukshartem, that's why we put tefillin. To put tefillin, it's like a symbol of connections. And the tefillin, you have there some parashiot. Those parashiot, they talk about the exit of Egypt. There is a parasha of Shema Israel, how much you have to love Hashem. Never forget your background. Never forget your past. Your past, you were nothing. You were a slave in Egypt. Nobody wanted you. And Hashem chose you. And He give you Torah. And He give you a name. He give you a nation. This is the tefillin. The tefillin is just to remember. When we put tefillin, ukshartem, we attach. I attach my heart. I attach my brain to be connected to Hashem with my history. What history? Thank you, Hashem, for what I was and for what you did for me. My liberation from Egypt. And this is the tefillin. And the talit, you put talit in tefillin. And the talit, it reminds you as well. To remind you, you know, the talit, the Gemara said, Hashem give you the talit. It said, item, you look at it, uschartem, you will remember, va'asitem. That means the talit remind you that you are Jewish. The talit remind you that Hashem give you mitzvot. So you do them. So the talit, it connects you as well with Hashem. The talit, it says, it's like to remind you, to wake you up. Hey, you're Jewish. You're Jew. Don't forget. You're Jew. Now, I say this Dvar Torah, the memory of Tova Rivka about Golda Goldman. I mean, where is she? She passed away. Where is she? She's up there. That Dvar Torah that I say in her memory, is it something that it connects us to her, or that does it bring anything good to her, or what? Yes, because up there is no food, up there is no money, up there is no holiday, up there is nothing. What there is up there? Hashem. Up there is a word of Torah. Here is the word when you can do mitzvot. Here is the word when you can do good things. Over there, here you can pray. Here you can do whatever you want. Over there is nothing to do. Here you can do business, buy a car, fly, be billionaire. I meet somebody yesterday. Not today, I'm sorry, today. I want to see him. I'm not allowed to tell you his name. He's one of the richest men in the world. But he's empty. He's empty. I mean, it is know what he's doing in this world. He has 5-6 billions of dollars beside all his business. He's an empty man. I feel sorry for him. I feel so bad for him. He don't go out. For 5 years he don't go out. He don't eat, he don't drink. He enjoy nothing. So, what the benefits of this? You know what? He has no children. So that means when he die, the government will take his money, maybe some animals cooperations, or maybe, I don't know. He loves cats. He has all kind of pictures of cats. So, I mean, empty. I feel so bad for him. So, we talked a lot about cats. We talked a lot about... he started crying. I made him cry. So maybe he will wake up. I'm not a psychologist, but I made him understand, look, we didn't look for the real thing. You look for money. You look for business. Okay, it's good. But what about you? What about you? You make money to enjoy them. You don't make money just to kill yourself. Now it's completely empty. Empty. At least, Baruch Hashem, I have a tachlis. You know what is tachlis? I have a motivation of something. I want to live. I want to enjoy. I want to travel. I want to, what I didn't do for 1 year during the corona, I want now to start back. I'm motivated to open yeshivot again, to connect myself to Hashem more. And at least I'm motivated to do things, not just to... No. To be nice, to be a good person, to be a better person. So the tefillin is like reconnaissance. It's like thank you. We put tefillin to say thank you to Hashem. Thank you for what you did for us for the past. So thank you now. And thank you for after. I don't know what it is my future. So I say thank you to Hashem. Why? Maybe my future is not good. So when Hashem say that I thank Him for the past, for the present, so Hashem can change my future. from bad to good. So this is the tefillin. The tefillin is just thank you. It's like you bring a present to a king. So the king, he will remind you all the time. He will remember you. So the tefillin is just to show that Hashem, I remember you. So what's the answer of Hashem? Okay, thank you. You remember me, so I will remember you too. This is the tefillin. Okay? God bless you this shiur in the memory of your sister Tova Rivka Bat Golda.